Imagine a landscape so vast, so profoundly isolated, that the very concept of modernity seems to dissolve into the shimmering heat haze. Picture the remote heart of Texas, where the land stretches for miles without a single soul in sight, a place where time itself seems to slow, governed only by the relentless rhythm of the seasons. Here, far removed from the digital pulse of the 21st century, lives Hank Miller, a man whose existence is as rugged and unyielding as the land he tends. His life revolves around the tending of cattle and the profound silence of the open plains, a silence that has become both his prison and his sanctuary since a tragic accident years ago claimed his family, leaving him adrift in a sea of grief and solitude. He's a relic of a bygone era, a living testament to self-sufficiency, yet burdened by a loneliness so deep it has shaped every contour of his solitary world. Now, consider the jarring intrusion of the utterly unexpected into such a life. What happens when the pinnacle of electric automotive innovation, a sleek, silent testament to humanity's relentless march forward, suddenly arrives at the doorstep of a man who deliberately chose to opt out of that march? It's a question that probes the very nature of human adaptability, the surprising catalysts for change, and the hidden pathways to healing. This isn't merely a story about a car. It's an exploration of how an object, seemingly so alien to a person's entire way of life, can become an unlikely key to unlocking a future previously unimaginable. It challenges our assumptions about technology as a force of isolation, daring to suggest that sometimes the most advanced tools can bridge the widest human divides. Hank Miller, a man who had long abandoned the notion of the outside world, found himself staring at an envelope with a strange logo, a contest prize he had no recollection of ever entering. The prize? A brand new Tesla Model 3, courtesy of a social media campaign launched by none other than Elon Musk himself. The absurdity of it was almost comical. Hank, who still relied on a decades-old pickup truck held together by sheer will and duct tape, had no use for a car, especially one that hummed with electricity instead of roaring with an engine, a vehicle so foreign to his simple utilitarian lifestyle. He was convinced it was some elaborate mistake, a prank perhaps, or a glitch in the matrix of a world he had long since chosen to ignore. Yet, a flicker of curiosity, a tiny spark in the vast emptiness of his routine, compelled him to accept the delivery. The day the gleaming, futuristic vehicle arrived at the ranch was a moment of profound, almost surreal, contrast. Its silent arrival, its sleek lines, and its undeniable presence stood in stark opposition to the dusty, weathered landscape that defined Hank's existence. It was more than just a car. It was an emissary from a world Hank had actively avoided. A world of rapid change, interconnectedness, and relentless innovation. As he walked around it, touching its smooth, unfamiliar surfaces, something deep within him stirred. It wasn't just a technological marvel that had landed in his archaic world. It was a realization, slow and insistent, that the world he had been avoiding for so long was not just out there, but was now quite literally at his doorstep calling to him. This metallic envoy, born of silicon and algorithms, became his reluctant gateway to a new existence, a silent challenge to his carefully constructed walls of solitude. The narrative we are about to unfold delves into this extraordinary transformation, tracking the journey of a man who believed his life was set in stone, only to find it reshaped by an unexpected gift. It's a testament to the fact that even in the most entrenched patterns of isolation, seeds of change can take root, often from the most improbable sources. This isn't merely a tale of technological marvel, but a deeply human story about the resilience of the spirit, the unexpected paths to healing, and the profound impact of connection, even when it begins with a machine. How does a man who has deliberately disconnected from the world begin to reconnect, not just with others, but with himself, through the most modern of conveyances? This is the core of our exploration, A journey that promises to surprise, to move, and to remind us that life, much like a self-driving car, can take us to destinations we never knew we needed to reach. Hank Miller's deep-seated reclusiveness was not merely a sudden reaction to the profound loss he suffered. Rather, it was an intensified manifestation of a life already steeped in the rugged ethos of self-sufficiency, a characteristic passed down through generations of Millers who had carved their existence from the unforgiving Texas soil. The ranch itself, an ancestral holding stretching back to the late 19th century, represented more than just property. It was a continuous, tangible link to a past where independence wasn't a choice but a necessity, where the rhythm of life was dictated by the land and the seasons, far removed from the clamor of burgeoning cities. His family had always prided themselves on their ability to stand alone, to thrive without relying on the external world, and the tragedy, while devastating, merely amplified this inherent inclination, pushing him further into the protective, albeit isolating, embrace of the familiar. The specific nature of his family's accident, a sudden, violent collision on a distant highway, had not only ripped them from his life but had also fundamentally altered his perception of the outside world. It transformed the vast, interconnected tapestry of modern life into a source of unpredictable danger, a place where random, uncontrollable forces could shatter everything. Consequently, his withdrawal was not just an act of mourning, but a deliberate, albeit subconscious, strategy for survival, a desperate attempt to regain control by minimizing exposure to the perceived chaos beyond his fences. He meticulously pruned away every connection that tethered him to the world out there, from canceling subscriptions to ignoring distant relatives, constructing a fortress of solitude brick by painstaking brick, each one cemented with grief and a fierce desire for self-preservation. Conversely, the genesis of the Tesla Model 3 arriving at his doorstep lay in a completely different realm, the hyper-connected, relentlessly forward-looking world of Silicon Valley. Elon Musk's social media campaign was not some random lottery. It was a strategically orchestrated global initiative designed to amplify the brand's reach and demystify electric vehicle technology for a broader, potentially skeptical audience. The prize, a new Model 3, was intended as a bold statement, a tangible demonstration of cutting-edge innovation, showcasing the vehicle's accessibility and ease of use to demographics, perhaps untouched by traditional marketing. It was a calculated gamble, hoping to generate viral buzz by placing a futuristic artifact into the most unexpected hands, thereby illustrating the universal appeal and transformative potential of sustainable transport. Consider the sheer cultural chasm that opened between Hank's world and the sleek machine that materialized within it. The Tesla, with its minimalist design, silent propulsion, and embedded artificial intelligence, was not merely a mode of transport. It was a potent symbol of Silicon Valley's disruptive ethos: innovation at all costs, seamless connectivity, and an unwavering belief in progress. This clashed fundamentally with the ranch's enduring values of tradition, resilience, and the quiet dignity of manual labor. Hank's tools were weathered leather, rusted steel, and the intuitive knowledge of the land. The Tesla spoke a language of algorithms, touchscreens, and over-the-air updates. It represented a future Hank had deliberately opted out of, a stark reminder of how rapidly the world beyond his fences was evolving, powered by ideas and technologies he neither understood nor wished to engage with. Furthermore, Hank's perception of the prize itself was filtered through his unique cultural lens. For a man who valued utility, hard-earned sustenance, and self-sufficiency above all else, an unearned gift, particularly one of such immense monetary value and perceived impracticality, was met with suspicion rather than excitement. In his world, things were acquired through labor or necessity, not through the whim of a distant, unseen entity or the abstract mechanics of a social media campaign. A prize implied a game, a competition, concepts utterly alien to his solitary existence. This perspective, deeply rooted in the practical no-nonsense upbringing on the ranch, shaped his initial reluctance, viewing the Tesla less as a blessing and more as an inconvenient, bewildering anomaly that disrupted the predictable rhythm of his carefully constructed isolation. Ultimately, this singular event, the delivery of a Tesla to a reclusive Texas rancher, highlights a broader, inexorable trend: the pervasive reach of technology into even the most remote and seemingly untouched corners of the globe. It serves as a compelling commentary on how few places remain truly isolated from the relentless march of digital connectivity and innovation. Even in the vast silent expanse of the Texas plains, where the echoes of tradition might seem to drown out the hum of progress, the modern world, in its most advanced form, found a way to reconnect with a soul that had deliberately chosen to disconnect. It suggests that while physical distances can be maintained, the ideological and technological boundaries are increasingly permeable, inviting even the most resistant individuals to confront the evolving landscape of human experience. Upon entering the cabin of the Tesla Model 3, Hank Miller was immediately enveloped by a stark, almost monastic silence, a profound contrast to the familiar symphony of groans, rattles, and engine roars that characterized his old pickup. The interior, devoid of the customary array of physical buttons and dials, presented an unsettlingly minimalist landscape dominated by a single expansive touchscreen centrally mounted. This large interface, glowing with crisp digital displays, felt less like a dashboard and more like a portal to another dimension, displaying information ranging from a stylized map to the vehicle's energy consumption, all presented with an unnerving precision that spoke of algorithms rather than mechanics. The seats, surprisingly supple, cradled him in a way his worn truck bench never had. Yet the overall sensation was one of being in a sophisticated alien capsule, far removed from the tactile, grimy reality of his daily existence. Beyond the initial visual shock, the very act of driving became an exercise in relearning fundamental motor skills. Gone was the familiar lurch of a combustion engine starting, replaced by an instantaneous silent surge of power the moment his foot grazed the accelerator. The Model 3 introduced him to the concept of one-pedal driving, where simply lifting his foot from the accelerator engaged a powerful regenerative braking system, slowing the car significantly and simultaneously feeding energy back into the battery. This seamless deceleration, utterly alien to the traditional braking he was accustomed to, felt like an invisible hand guiding the vehicle, demanding a novel finesse he slowly began to acquire. The absence of gear shifts, the smooth, uninterrupted acceleration, and the near-silent propulsion transformed even the simplest drive across his property into an eerily serene experience, a glide rather than a rumble. The heart of this novel experience, however, resided in the vehicle's digital brain and its interactive display. The large touchscreen served as the command center for virtually every function, from climate control to navigation. Hank, accustomed to physical knobs and switches, found himself tentatively poking and swiping, discovering layers of menus and options he never knew existed in a vehicle. The car's sophisticated voice assistant, with its remarkably natural cadence, became his initial guide. He learned to issue commands not through specific buttons, but by simply speaking, asking the car to open the glove compartment or adjust the cabin temperature. This conversational interface, processing his gruff inquiries with surprising accuracy, represented a profound shift from the static, unresponsive machinery he had always known, offering a glimpse into a world where machines responded to human voice with an almost intelligent understanding. Furthermore, the advanced driver assistance systems embedded within the Model 3 presented another layer of bewildering yet fascinating technology. While Hank largely preferred manual control, he discovered the vehicle's ability to autonomously maintain its lane on the dusty ranch roads, gently correcting its course with subtle steering inputs. This was enabled by an array of cameras, radar, and ultrasonic sensors meticulously scanning the vehicle's surroundings, creating a real-time digital map of its environment. The car could see the lane markers, detect obstacles, and even identify other vehicles, processing this data at speeds incomprehensible to a human mind. Witnessing the car subtly adjust its trajectory, a seemingly independent entity navigating the terrain, was a testament to engineering prowess that defied his ingrained understanding of how a vehicle should operate. Another striking departure from his established norms involved the car's unique propulsion and energy management. The Model 3, powered by a massive lithium-ion battery pack integrated into its floor, drew its energy from the electrical grid rather than liquid fossil fuels. Hank, who had always measured his journeys in gallons and miles per gallon, now grappled with concepts like kilowatt hours and charging times. He observed the digital range estimator on the screen, a constantly updating projection of how far he could travel on the remaining charge, a modern equivalent of a fuel gauge, but with far greater implications for planning. The physical act of plugging the car into a charging station, a silent, fume-free process, felt fundamentally different from the noisy, diesel-scented ritual at a gas pump, signaling a shift in the very infrastructure that supported modern transportation. Ultimately, the Model 3 presented a masterclass in modern engineering, a meticulously designed synthesis of hardware and software. Its low center of gravity, a direct consequence of the battery placement, provided exceptional stability and handling, a subtle but distinct difference Hank could feel even on unpaved roads. The vehicle's construction, largely from high-strength steel and aluminum, contributed to both its safety and its surprising agility. Every component, from the aerodynamic flush door handles to the panoramic glass roof, spoke of a deliberate design philosophy aimed at efficiency, integration, and a seamless user experience. This sophisticated machine, a product of countless innovations, began to subtly, but undeniably, redefine his understanding of what a vehicle could be and how it could interact with its environment, challenging his deeply held, conventional notions of technology and utility. We often perceive advanced technology as a force that drives us further into individual silos, fostering a world of screen-gazing isolation rather than genuine human connection. Yet Hank Miller's unexpected encounter with the epitome of modern automotive design presented a powerful counter-narrative, illustrating how cutting-edge tools can, paradoxically, become catalysts for profound social re-engagement. Imagine the scene: a gleaming, silent vehicle, a sentinel from the future, appearing in the most improbable of settings. This stark contrast immediately becomes a beacon of curiosity, drawing bewildered glances and prompting questions from onlookers. Accustomed to the familiar rumble of combustion engines, it transforms a solitary journey into a series of impromptu dialogues, sparking conversations that transcend the mundane and delve into the surprising, the innovative, and the deeply human. Consider the subtle, yet significant, shifts that occur when an individual, long entrenched in a personal comfort zone of isolation, is propelled into unfamiliar public spaces by an extraordinary means. The very presence of such a novel object, futuristic vehicle in a traditional, rural landscape, inherently disrupts the ordinary flow of interaction. People aren't just observing a car. They're witnessing a story unfolding, an unusual juxtaposition that compels them to approach, to inquire, to share their own astonishment. These chance encounters, whether at a roadside stop or a local eatery, become unexpected portals to connection. The vehicle itself serves as an icebreaker, a shared point of wonder that dissolves initial barriers of reticence, allowing for exchanges that might never have happened in the absence of such a striking anomaly. Furthermore, this scenario highlights the profound impact of what might be termed digital serendipity on real-world human dynamics. The car, a product of a global social media campaign, was a conduit for a connection that began in the abstract digital realm, but manifested in tangible, personal interactions. This isn't merely about convenience. It's about the unforeseen consequences of technological reach, where a distant, algorithm-driven initiative can profoundly alter an individual's immediate social fabric. Hank's initial reluctance gradually gave way to a nascent curiosity, fostered by the gentle prompts of the vehicle's integrated intelligence and the welcoming, if sometimes bewildered, responses from strangers. This transition from avoidance to engagement underscores a fundamental human need for connection, a need that technology, despite its reputation, can sometimes surprisingly facilitate. Building on this, the experience demonstrates how external forces can powerfully recalibrate an individual's perception of their own existence and their place within the broader community. For Hank, the vehicle was initially an inconvenience, a symbol of the world he had rejected. However, as he navigated diverse environments from bustling urban centers to quiet, picturesque towns, the car became a lens through which he observed the intricate tapestry of human life that he had long excluded himself from. This exposure wasn't just visual. It was interactive. He found himself engaging with people from all walks of life, discovering shared laughter, moments of empathy, and a renewed sense of belonging. The quiet hum of the electric motor replaced the deafening silence of his solitude, offering a new kind of companionship that, unexpectedly, led him back to the very human connections he had so deliberately severed. Consequently, the narrative extends beyond the personal transformation of one rancher to reflect on the broader societal implications of technological integration, particularly in unexpected contexts. It challenges our preconceived notions about progress and modernity. Is progress solely defined by efficiency and speed, or can it also encompass the rekindling of human spirit and the rebuilding of fractured social ties? The story of Hank and his futuristic vehicle suggests that innovation, when introduced into the most unlikely of scenarios, can act as a powerful agent of cultural exchange and understanding. It encourages a reevaluation of technology's role, shifting it from a potential source of alienation to a surprising enabler of community, empathy, and shared experience, ultimately redefining what it means to be connected in a rapidly evolving world. Reflecting on this journey so far, we witness a compelling narrative unfold, one where the seemingly immutable boundaries of a solitary existence begin to ripple and dissolve under the touch of an unforeseen catalyst. The sheer incongruity of a futuristic marvel landing amidst the timeless rhythms of a forgotten way of life set in motion a subtle, yet profound, recalibration of perception. It wasn't merely the presence of an object, but the inherent clash of philosophies it represented, a world defined by relentless innovation meeting, one steeped in enduring tradition that began to pry open the tightly sealed chambers of a soul long insulated by grief and habit. This friction, rather than causing an immediate rupture, instead initiated a gradual, almost imperceptible, process of reacquaintance with the very currents of change that had been so deliberately eschewed. As the unfamiliar hum replaced the accustomed roar, and intuitive gestures supplanted ingrained manual rituals, a new grammar of interaction began to take root. This wasn't simply about mastering controls or understanding novel mechanics. It was about the slow, deliberate unlearning of deeply embedded assumptions, paving the way for a fresh engagement with the tangible world. The vehicle, initially perceived as an alien intrusion, subtly morphed into a conduit, its advanced capabilities serving not as a barrier to understanding, but as an unexpected bridge. It became a silent companion in the rediscovery of landscapes, both external and internal, prompting an awakening to possibilities that had long been dormant, obscured by the dust of isolation. The ripple effect extended far beyond the personal dominion, touching upon the very fabric of human interaction. What began as a private confrontation with modernity blossomed into a series of spontaneous, unscripted encounters. The sheer novelty of the situation drew others in, transforming moments of transit into unexpected forums for connection. The vehicle, a silent ambassador, facilitated dialogues that transcended superficialities, allowing for a re-engagement with the broader human tapestry that had been so conscientiously avoided. It highlighted a fascinating paradox, that the very tools often cited as drivers of digital detachment can, in unforeseen circumstances, become powerful instruments for forging authentic, real-world bonds, demonstrating a surprising capacity to mend fractured social landscapes. This unfolding narrative underscores a pivotal insight, that transformation often emerges from the most improbable intersections. The quiet evolution of one man's understanding, from initial skepticism to a burgeoning reliance, mirrored a wider re-evaluation of what constitutes progress and connection in our rapidly shifting world. The very concept of self-sufficiency, once a fortress, began to reveal its hidden costs, exposing the profound void left by the absence of shared experience and communal belonging. It's a testament to the fact that life's most significant shifts are frequently orchestrated not by grand design, but by the quiet, persistent influence of the unexpected, nudging us towards horizons we never knew existed. Indeed, the unfolding circumstances have now brought to the fore a stark reality, one that compels a decisive reckoning with the very foundation of this newfound journey. The ground beneath the feet, once considered immutable, now threatens to shift dramatically, forcing a confrontation with an impending void that transcends mere geographical displacement. This pivotal moment, born of external pressures, magnifies the internal transformation, challenging the resilience cultivated through adversity and the nascent connections forged through a remarkable intervention. It asks, when the anchors of the past are loosed and the familiar landscape recedes, what remains to guide the way forward? As we stand at this precipice, the implications of this remarkable odyssey converge, inviting us to contemplate the profound capacity for renewal. When faced with the dissolution of the known, the stage is set for a final transformative chapter, where the essence of this extraordinary shift will be fully revealed. The silent hum of an electric motor, once an alien sound on the vast windswept plains of Texas, has now become the unexpected overture to a new chapter in Hank Miller's life. What began as a bewildering, almost comical intrusion into a meticulously constructed world of solitude has culminated in a profound reawakening, demonstrating that even in the most entrenched patterns of isolation, the seeds of transformation can lie dormant, awaiting an improbable catalyst. This journey, initiated by the sleek lines and advanced intelligence of a Tesla Model 3, was never merely about transportation. It was about the slow, deliberate dismantling of emotional barricades, revealing the resilient core of a human spirit that had long believed itself broken beyond repair. The car, a symbol of the future Hank had so fiercely resisted, became, paradoxically, the very vehicle that drove him back into the embrace of the present and into the rich, unpredictable tapestry of human connection. The true marvel of Hank's story lies not in the technological prowess of the machine itself, but in its capacity to serve as a bridge to forgotten empathy and rediscovered community. For years, the silence of the ranch had been both his refuge and his tormentor, a vast echo chamber for his grief. Yet, as the Model 3 silently glided across the state, it transformed into a conversational piece, a magnet for curiosity. Each unexpected encounter, the stunned family at a gas station, the intrigued patrons at a local diner chipped away at the edifice of his reclusiveness. These interactions, sparked by the sheer incongruity of a futuristic car in the hands of an old-school rancher, began to fill the void, proving that even the most advanced technology, often accused of fostering isolation, can become an unexpected conduit for genuine human connection. reminding us of our fundamental need for shared experience. This journey of reluctant discovery highlighted a deeper truth. Life, much like the advanced AI within Hank's Tesla, possesses an inherent capacity for adaptation and evolution. Hank, a man rooted in tradition, was forced to learn a new language, not of code or circuits, but of fluidity and change. The car's gentle, almost sentient humor became a surprising companion, coaxing laughter from a man who had forgotten how to smile. This seemingly trivial detail underscores a profound point. Healing often begins in the unexpected, in the small moments of lightness that pierce through the heaviest clouds of sorrow. The forced confrontation with the sale of his ancestral ranch, a devastating blow, became the ultimate test of this newfound adaptability, compelling him to not just explore the world, but to actively envision and build a new place within it. The narrative of Hank Miller and his Tesla is a poignant reminder that growth often demands stepping into the unknown, trusting the journey even when the destination is unclear. It challenges the notion that progress is solely measured by technological advancement or economic gain. Instead, it suggests that true progress lies in our capacity for resilience, for opening ourselves to new possibilities, and for finding connection in a world that often feels increasingly fragmented. The Model 3, initially a symbol of unwanted modernity, transformed into a beacon of hope and renewal, empowering Hank to navigate not just physical landscapes, but the complex emotional terrain of his own healing. Ultimately, this story transcends the individual experience, offering a universal reflection on the power of unexpected catalysts to reshape our lives. It compels us to consider how often we might unknowingly cling to our own versions of the ranch familiar, yet isolating, and how a seemingly random event, a prize we never sought, might hold the key to unlocking a future we never dared to imagine. It is a testament to the enduring human spirit, its capacity to heal, to adapt, and to find light even in the deepest shadows. The true miracle isn't just a car. It's the profound realization that life, much like Hank's Model 3, doesn't just move forward with speed and precision. It adapts, it evolves, and ultimately, it drives towards a future filled with endless, transformative possibilities, if only we are brave enough to get in and embrace the ride. The true practice of living, of truly being present, begins now with every silent hum and every unforeseen turn.